Hello, everyone. Dr. Vicky here, speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center. It's time to look at the week ahead in astrology. Today is the 10th of March, and we start with a new moon. How exciting! Before we get into it, I just want to welcome all the new subscribers. If this is your first time to my channel, I do numerology, astrology, and Kabbalah readings. I do them on famous people, infamous people. You can check out my website for your favorite heroes and villains. You can see that in the news segments that I have listed. And I also do monthly astrology and Kabbalah, weekly astrology, daily walks through the garden talking about the aspects that are in the sky and what the stars are doing in the day to sort of start your day off, along with many other different things. On the new moons, I do a Moon Shadows episode with Ona from Ona's Tarot, and then at the full moon, we do a Moonshine episode on her channel, Ona's Tarot, so you can follow us on that as well. And we're going to jump right in to the astrology. I just want to point out that I have a little altar right next to me. It's not my main altar, but I do like to light a candle when I'm doing this kind of work. And I have my painting, my Pisces painting that I did in, I think, 22. That's when I was inspired to do that. And I also have some selenite here, selenite, and some labradorite. For those of you who have watched the Moon Shadows episode, you'll know why I have these up on the altar. And then I also selected, which I don't generally do because this is an astrology reading, I did select a Mystic Sisters Oracle card for the week, and I got Kuan Yin. So this is the energy that we're being asked to foster, and I will read to you what it says in the little book that comes with this deck. The Mystic Sisters Oracle deck by Emily Balavet. And she does all the art, so the art is fantastic. And let's see what Kuan Yin. Actually, Kuan Yin is perfect for a new moon in Pisces. So let's compassion and empathy. Kuan Yin is an Asian deity of mercy and compassion. Her name literally means observing the cries of the world. She sits at the center of a mandala and can see every point of view at once. The action this card asks of you is to find a more transcendent perspective. Realize that when we make judgments or harsh criticisms towards ourselves or others, we are likely not to be taking in the full story into account. We've all suffered, and we are all doing well. It isn't always easy to remember what it felt like during our rocky phases. We must try to recall the details, including all the sorrows and pain, and the courage involved in making a change. This allows us to increase our empathy and gain wisdom. What a beautiful message for the Pisces new moon. So let's jump right into it and see what the astrology has in store for us this week, the week of the 10th to, I believe it's the 17th, 7 days. Okay, so let's see what's going on. Okay, so we're looking at, I believe we're only going to be looking at this, well, maybe, well, I'll see. I think this is just going to be for the second week. March 10th to March 16th, 2024. So today is the 10th, and we start with a new moon in Pisces at 21 degrees of Pisces. This actually occurred at 5 o'clock this morning. So as I sit here, the new moon has actually already happened. I've done a Moon Shadows episode with Ona on this channel. If you want a deeper dive into the energy of the new moon and what we've put on our altars and the like. and just the themes of the new moon. So we really get into it, and I think it's. We also look back at some further back energies around Neptune and Saturn, and the last time Neptune and Saturn came together, and its connection to this new moon. It's a good video. All right, enough about that. The new moon in Pisces vibrating the day, the 10th of March, vibrating to a 21-3, the 21-3 being the world card in the tarot on the tree of life. It is located here. And so this is the path between the moon and the earth. This is the path of the administrative intelligence. It is the path of Saturn. It is kind of like the birth canal. And so we are giving birth to a new manifestation through the energy of this new moon. We have 21 degrees of Pisces under the watchful and kind eye of a Chinese servant. A girl fondles a little white lamb. A training in optimism. The pleasures of soft touch and a simple smile are powerful agencies through which we learn optimism. Practice and demonstrate innocence of being. That is what we're being required to do. And sort of the whole idea of Kuan Yin and compassion sort of lines into that, because Kuan Yin sits and witnesses and has compassion and empathy for the suffering of humanity without judgment, and that takes a very sort of open soul to do that. We also today have Mercury making a sextile to Pluto. This is a waxing sextile, meaning that Mercury is moving away from Pluto. Mercury and Pluto made a conjunction in the first degree of Aquarius back in, I believe it was the beginning of either the end of January, the beginning of February. I say that and I keep forgetting to look back to see when that actually happened. But it did occur at the first degree of Aquarius. And so we are at the point in the cycle between Mercury and Pluto where we are opening the lines of communication and we're into information gathering. Mercury, of course, just moved into Aries yesterday, and now it's making the sextile to Pluto, which is still sitting at that first degree of Aquarius. And so the idea of Mercury in Aries is open to new ideas. And of course, Pluto in Aquarius is asking us to move into a more Aquarian mindset and an Aquarian social order, and to evolve in the direction of Leo, because the Pluto evolves through its polarity point. So as Pluto moves through Aquarius, we are required to be more Aquarian in our nature, think more about humanity, and but in order to do that, we have to understand our own heart. And we'll talk about that. Pluto's in Aquarius for 20 years. You'll hear this come out of my mouth over and over again, I'm sure. On Monday the 11th, which vibrates to a 22-4, Venus ingresses into Pisces. Now, this is very powerful because Venus is exalted in Pisces. I think we will go over the second and third week in this video. I hadn't decided, but seeing as there's 3 major things happening in week 2, I think we have room to look at week 3 as well. I just want to point out that the 22-5 vibration is up here on the tree of life. It is connected to the Fool card, and it is really direct connection with Spirit, as Spirit wants to express itself and see its reflection in Hokmah, which is located right here. On the third week, Sunday, the 17th, happy St. Patrick's Day, the Sun makes a conjunction to Neptune in Pisces. That occurs at 28 degrees of Pisces. The Sabian symbol for that is 6. Well, Enough is a feast. Success in manifesting the earth plane is measured by our ability to win abundance without becoming a slave to greed. Isn't that just the thing? Isn't that exactly the balm that we need at this time? A lot of the suffering that people, mostly women, children, and elderly people in places that are poor, um, generally bear the brunt of this greed. And it's unnecessary. It's absolutely unnecessary because there is enough for all of us. We do have to live different kinds of lives so that there is enough for all of us. But a simple life isn't necessarily a bad thing. A simple life is usually a pretty fulfilling life. And isn't it? Don't we all deserve a fulfilling life? On Tuesday, the 19th, the sun ingresses into Aries. This is the start of the spring in the northern hemisphere and the fall in the southern hemisphere. The sun moving over the world point of Aries starts the zodiacal year. So it is always a very powerful time. And of course, Aries is the energy of becoming. That occurs on the 19th, which vibrates to a 30/3 on the tree of life that is located in Hesed and connected to the throat chakra. In fact, the whole year 2024 is vibrating on this path, the path of the strength card, and energetically the throat chakra. And it is in the throat chakra that spirit, divine will works through us. So a lot of this year is going to be about stepping aside and allowing divine will to drive the bus. On the 21st, we have the sun making a waxing sextile to Pluto. We just had Mercury make a waxing sextile to Pluto the week before. This is the same energy. The sun illuminates. Pluto is willing to dig for information. We may see things that have been hidden. Pluto come to light, the sun, and we'll have more information to work with as Pluto and Mercury continue its journey, its synodic cycle, which is a year, and it began, as I said, back at the beginning of this year, and will end at the beginning of next year. But we're just at the beginning. We're just at the information gathering stage of this very powerful energy of Pluto and Mercury. Remember, Mercury was the only god who could go down and visit Pluto back and forth and come back unscathed. He was the only one allowed, the only god allowed to go into the underworld whenever he pleased and was allowed out of the underworld. So that's pretty interesting. And so it says that our mind can go deep. Our mind can explore those deeper realms and what treasure we can uncover from that experience. On the 21st, we also have Saturn conjunct Venus. This occurs at 13 degrees of Pisces, the Sabian symbol for 13 degrees of Pisces. And Saturn and Venus as a conjunction, Saturn is pretty serious. Venus it's not serious, but Venus does like her pleasure and does like her relaxation and does like her sensuality. And sometimes with Saturn there, we can feel a little lack of those things. But it is the start of a cycle. It is the start of manifesting what we value. And so with Venus and its exaltation in Pisces, what do we value? A sword in a museum. This is the Sabian symbol, single pointed certainty of purpose, a development of the sharpness of intent. That is what Venus and Saturn are asking us to do, to develop a sharpness of intent, as above, so below. What we concentrate on and what we focus on becomes our reality. It is important that you focus on what you want to see in your life. And Friday, the 22nd, my husband Michael's birthday. Happy birthday, Michael. We have Mars ingress into Pisces. Now Venus just ingressed into Pisces, right? She loves Pisces. Mars, not so much. Mars does like direct action. I don't know if you've ever seen a fish swim, but they don't ever go in a straight line. So there is an energy when Mars moves into Pisces and a necessity to go with the flow because you don't really have any other option, honestly. And that happens on the 22nd, and that is a 33.6 vibration. 33.6 is a master number, and it is connected actually to Venus through the tree of life. Here it is right here. The 33.6 sits right here. And we can see the sign changes this week. We had the sun move into Aries. We had, let's see, Mercury move into Aries here. We had Venus go from Aquarius to Pisces. And we also have this new moon at 21 degrees of Pisces. So that's the energy of the 2 weeks we're going to be looking at. The sun goes from, the earth, which is always opposite the sun, goes from Virgo to Libra. So these are the themes on planet Earth: healing, perfecting, and relating. Okay, so let's continue and get into these individually. All right, so the first thing we're looking at is the new moon. This is a chart for the United States. Apologies to those people who are not from the US. But as the US goes, really kind of the world does, for good or bad, whether you like it or not, whether I like it or not, it's a lot of responsibility. And hopefully we wield that responsibility well. I think we have a better feeling about that now that we've had our State of the Union, which was a bit of a visionary speech and a pep talk and an admonishment of those who do not have our best interest at heart and the interests of our country. So thank you for that little opportunity to say that, everyone. All right, so we're looking at the new moon in Pisces. We can see that the new moon in Pisces is actually at the midpoint of Neptune and Saturn, and we talked about this in our moon shadows episode. And so there is this sense of starting something, Pisces being the last sign of the zodiac. It is about the beginning of wrapping up the energy of the last zodiacal year, which would have began last year when the sun moved into Aries, and a lot has happened since then. And so there's a lot to think about. But just in general, the Pisces new moon is an opportunity for us to focus on the dream, to focus on compassion, oneness, unity, and how we can be of service and heal what needs to be healed. How can we have compassion for all souls, even the ones who are doing the bad stuff that's causing all the suffering? You can't be that way unless you yourself are in some sort of awful pain. And so compassion runs in all directions and for all people. The Sabian symbol for this degree of Pisces, under the watchful and kind eye of a Chinese servant, a girl fondles a white lamb. So this is about recognizing the simple things in life, recognizing our special our specialness and the need to be kind and the need to be supportive and the need to be of service to one another. We also look, whenever we have a new moon in a sign, I like to look at the rulers of that sign. Pisces has two rulers, its classical ruler Jupiter and its modern ruler Neptune. Jupiter at this point is at 13 degrees of Taurus. The Sabian symbol is a porter carrying heavy baggage, and the understanding of that symbol is about improving our lot in life, willing to do the hard work to make our lives better. And it is so compassion can be hard work, especially when people are real jerks. But it's all in service of making the world better. Neptune, the modern ruler of Pisces, is at 28 degrees of Pisces, the Sabian symbol, a fertile garden under a full moon. Success in mastering the earth plane is a measure of our ability to win abundance without becoming a slave to greed, fulfilling your desires. And so we have this sense of having to work toward fulfilling our desires, but allowing enough to be enough, right? Enough to be enough. The vibration of this day, I said, is the World card. The World card is always about beginnings, endings, and new beginnings. And of course, new moons are always about new beginnings as well. So here is an opportunity for us to grow in compassion, grow in compassion, and also visualize the dream. This is an opportunity to utilize our imaginations to, in our mind's eye, create the world that we want to see. So when the time comes for what we focus on to be manifested, that is exactly what will manifest. Okay, let's continue. Okay. We also have on this day, same vibration here, the World card, Mercury making a waxing sextile to Pluto, opening the lines of communication with the soul, a deeply curious and probing aspect. If you have this in your natal chart, you know how deep your mind likes to go with these aspects. It is the first major aspect of the Mercury-Pluto synod that began with the Mercury-Pluto conjunction at 1 degree of Aquarius. We are gathering important information at this time, important information, both from our environment and also from our own soul. Venus's ingress into Pisces happening on the 11th. This vibration is a 22-4, right? The Fool card, taking that leap of faith. Venus ingress into Pisces, Venus in her exaltation. Venus is also the ruler of the South Node. Let us not forget the South Node is in Libra. So when Venus changes signs, the energy of that South Node changes as well. And the South Node is about letting go. And Venus and Pisces is about forgiveness and empathy and a need to let go. Also a need to let go of relationships where you're putting a lot of energy and the people are not ready to get better. The lessons around codependency, lessons around martyrdom in relationships, lessons about casting pearls before swine, lessons about understanding that you can't help anybody unless they are ready to be helped. Okay, so you don't want to it's important to be aware. It's important to release any of those relationships that are doing that to you. It's important so that you can put your energy into the North Node, which in fact, we are coming up to our North Node season, our North Node eclipse season, when it's asking us to move into the unknown future, Aries, with courage. But if you have all these relationships sort of dragging you down, you can't completely invest in that North Node. And so this is what Pisces ruling that South Node may require us to do. Pisces, Venus moving into Pisces, 1 degree, a public market. Sabian symbol speaks of a healthy exchange. A good society, a healthy society is based on how well people can interact and be interdependent as well as independent within that society. Jupiter, as the classical ruler of Pisces, is at 14 degrees of Taurus. Shellfish groping and children playing, self-development through play. There is a wisdom in finding a balance between work and play. And so we have to keep in mind, even though even though there's a lot of pain and suffering in the world, play is so very important. You know, a lot of times you'll see these areas of the world that are very poor, very war-torn, and you know, the little kids are in a state, they're hungry, they're afraid, and yet very often you'll see them jumping in puddles and playing patty cake and doing what they can to make their day a little bit more pleasant. And I think we can, you know, we don't have to get to that point to decide it's a good idea to play. Let's just play, and let's just help these kids so they again can play in peace. In peace. We also have Neptune at 28 degrees of Pisces, same symbol as we looked at for the new moon, because of course Neptune doesn't move that quickly, and it's about having abundance without being a slave to greed. And so this is, we are being asked at this time to interact in peaceful and interdependent ways, but to take what we need instead of taking it all, right? So, all right. On the 17th, this is St. Patrick's Day. We have the Sun conjunct Neptune. Now, the Sun likes to make things clear and Neptune likes to fog things up. So things are not easily seen in the real world, but in the world of imagination. This is a very powerful, powerful energy. And so this is an opportunity, a beginning of a cycle between the Sun and Pisces, is to illuminate the ideal, to illuminate the dream, to create and manifest and focus on the dream. This 28 degrees of Pisces, a fertile garden under full moon. Enough is enough. Success in mastering the earth plane is measured by our ability to win abundance without becoming a slave to greed. Fulfill your desires. And this is a chart for the U.S. We can see the U.S. in this chart for this moment in time. Erected in Washington, D.C. We do have this conjunction right there in that 12th house, very, very close to the ascendant, meaning that the Sun and Neptune are rising at that time. And we do have Saturn there as well. So it's not all sunshine and butterflies, but it certainly is an opportunity for us to connect with that sort of compassionate energy to help ourselves and to help others. Okay, let's continue. Excuse me, I went in the wrong direction. Sorry about that. Now we're looking at the Sun's ingress into Aries, as it does every year at this time. Of course, 1 degrees of Aries, a woman rising out of the water, a seal rises and embraces her. The recognition of potential, the need to become, that's really what Aries is. And so as the Sun rises from the watery, mystical waters of Pisces and rises into Aries, our imagination, the things we've been focusing on, come up into manifestation. We do look at where Mars is at this time, because Mars is the ruler of Aries, and so we can see in part what's being asked, what's rising up, what's the influence of that Sun rising up into Aries. And we have Mars as the ruler of Aries at 28 degrees of Aquarius. A tree felled and sawed is the symbol. Careful use of natural resources to ensure a supply of wood for the winter. We have to anticipate and make preparations ahead of time, expanding perception in order to see more deeply. That is the Sun in Aries message. We need to be aware of our resources and how best to utilize them, and to think about resources that we may need in the, don't spend it all now, especially if you're having some abundance now. it's important to make sure you put what you need aside or get the things that you need in order to stabilize yourself and be careful around your resources. Perhaps only get the things you absolutely need and prepare for maybe a moment in this year or time in this year when things aren't going to be as readily available and things might be a little more scarce. So it really is kind of about planning out and keeping a close eye on your resources at this time to help support your new beingness, to help support this sense of rebirth that comes when the sun moves into Aries. The sun makes a, let me just go back for a second. I just want to point out the 19th, let's see, I didn't put the tarot card here, strangely enough. So that's 22 and 8, 30. So this is the 30/3 vibration, which is the Four of Wands energetically located in the throat chakra, found in Hesed in the on the tree of life, the place of generosity, the place of creation, as it were. And so this is because it's connected to the throat chakra, where divine will works through us. So we have a lot of help, people. We have a lot of help from spirit. Let's not forget that. Okay. Next thing we're going to look at is the sun making a waxing sextile to Pluto. This is the same aspect that Mercury made to Pluto. With the sun, there's an illumination and opening a lines of communication. Pluto giving the sun its marching orders and what needs to be illuminated, and to aid in us evolving through our emotional body. We evolve through our emotions via Pluto. This cycle began at the Sun-Pluto conjunction, which occurred on the 20th of January, 2024. That was a 2911 vibration. That 2911 vibration is the same vibration as the word light. So we are being asked to shine our light, right? This occurred at 30 degrees of Capricorn. This is the last time the sun and Pluto will conjoin in Capricorn, and it won't happen again for another 248 years or so. So we're not going to be around to see it. So this is important. And this is a cycle that lasts until the sun conjoins Pluto in 2025. And so this is the energy of this cycle. And I'll read the Sabian symbol, but Pluto does actually go back into Capricorn for about 3 months and stays at this degree the whole time. So we have to keep, when I read this degree, we have to keep this in mind, that this was the initial impulse of the Sun-Pluto conjunction, illuminating the desires of the soul, the unconscious desires of the soul, being made conscious every time the sun conjoins Pluto like this. This is what happens. And the sun has been conjoining Pluto like this since 2008 in Capricorn. And this last conjunction was the last one we're going to have. But we are going to have a little bit more of this Pluto in this degree energy. That being said, a secret meeting of men responsible for executive decisions in world affairs. Society is structured hierarchically, and there is a small group of people who secretly direct the course of history, accepting the need for higher level management of collective affairs. So some of these people are really divinely guided. So don't think that it's just a bunch of people who want to have power over us. It is not necessarily, although there might be a few of those in there, it is really about, it can be about, let's just put it this way, it can be about great vision for people who have more vision to help us to drive us in the direction of our next evolutionary imperative, which of course Pluto in Aquarius says you got to learn how to get along with each other, guys. This is your world to create and destroy, or destroy. So make good choices. Make good choices. Um, um, the sun at this point in this cycle with Pluto is now at 2 degrees of Aries, a comedian entertaining a group, an ability to laugh at ourselves and not take ourselves too seriously. And Pluto now is at 2 degrees of Aquarius, an unexpected thunderstorm, submission to unforeseen and uncontrollable forces. So we have to be a little light on our feet here and be willing to laugh at ourselves. It is powerful, uh, powerful symbols here. But of course, this sextile opens the lines of communication. The sextile reveals things that were hidden. And so one of the revelations may act like or feel like an unexpected thunderstorm. Or we could actually get an unexpected thunderstorm. So stay on your toes, folks. Stay on your toes. On the 21st, we have Venus make her conjunction to Saturn. This is the start of the synodic cycle between Venus and Saturn. Saturn manifests. Venus is what is important and what we value. So this is the start of a cycle of manifestation. Initially, it may feel like a lack because anytime Saturn is around this close to Venus, things are very, very serious and not all that fun. Not always fun, but I know a lot of people have Saturn Venus conjunctions in their chart and they're fun, but they also understand the need to work hard and to do your work before you have your fun. So there you go, my Venus Saturn folks out there. Venus is conjunct Saturn at 13 degrees of Pisces. Sabian symbol is a sword in a museum. A single pointed certainty of purpose. This is what we're being asked to do. And interestingly enough, the vibration of the day is a 32.5 vibration, which is the 6 of wands. You can see it up there on the left. That's a 32.5 is the path of life for the United States and the shadow of the United States. And we do have Chiron getting closer and closer to the United States Chiron, and we're in the midst of our 5th Chiron return for the US, and we're going to have 3 exact conjunctions of Chiron on Chiron between 2024 and 2025. That in itself is a separate video that I will eventually be able to do for you guys. So the rulers of Pisces, we always look at that when there's a conjunction in Pisces. We have Jupiter at 16 degrees of Taurus. An old teacher fails to interest his pupils in traditional knowledge, revelation. Only when old ways have clearly failed can new knowledge be discovered and presented. So the knowledge is here, the knowledge is coming to us, but we had to realize what we didn't know before we could be open to what we need to know. And then we have the modern ruler of Pisces at 28 degrees of Pisces again, Neptune at 28 degrees of Pisces, the same symbol we've been talking about, fulfilling your desires, an ability to be abundant without becoming a slave to greed. So we have this theme over and over and over again. And here we can see Venus and where is it? Venus and Saturn together at 13 degrees of Pisces. This is for the US. It does fall in the house of the military. I feel like this is probably, and it is in Pisces, which has to do with the water. I think this has to do with that, the help that the United States is going to give to Gaza with the pier that they're building out in the ocean. So this is, I think this is part of that energy anyway. And of course, Pisces is about compassion and helping those who need help. Um, the whole idea of what happens to the least of us happens to all of us. And it's time for us to start taking care of the least of us. And the least of us are really the best of us in a way. And so let us be kind to each other and support each other through these traumatic situations that we ourselves have created to learn lessons with. But it's time to learn the lesson of compassion. All right, continue. Mars ingress into Pisces. Of course, Mars is a lot of action. Pisces is the ocean, so I have my little tsunami in the corner here. There's always that possibility. Mars ingress into Pisces, and Mars now as the ruler of Aries is the ruler of the North Node. Is the ruler of the North Node. So, what is the direction of our destiny? It is independent action, Aries. It is about being ourselves, Aries, but it's also about being our compassionate selves because now Mars is in Pisces. The ruler of Pisces, the classical ruler of Pisces, remember every time a planet goes into Pisces, we like to see what the rulers of that sign are doing. We still have the old teacher trying to teach the students that they're like, and so this is about discovering new knowledge. And Neptune is still at that 28th degree about abundance without becoming a slave to greed. So that energy is still pretty, pretty hot and heavy at this time. This is a United States chart. We have Mars in Pisces in the fifth house. This is the fifth house is the house of children. And so I know that they were talking about the child tax credit, which would be a great expression of this. Hopefully that does happen and we can pull more kids out of poverty. All right, so the next time we get together, we're going to be looking at the first eclipse. It is a full moon eclipse. It is on the 25th. It is on the day of the Alvin Bragg Donald Trump hush money trial. And just to remember that it is a eclipse, it is a blood moon, and Donald Trump was born under a blood moon, as was Speaker of the House Mike Johnson. So we may see some big changes around both of those characters in this great play we call the greatest show on earth, I guess, the one that we are in. All right, so let me get out of this here. All right, so we have our marching orders, compassion up front and center, helping those who need help, dreaming the dream, focusing on the world you want to see, and then taking steps to get there and being ready for the unexpected. Just a regular day on planet Earth, I would say. Have yourself a great week, a great 2 weeks. You can like and subscribe. That helps my numbers. You can donate to my channel through PayPal. There is a link below. You can become a patron on Patreon. They get pretty much the same thing that the YouTube folks get, but the more patrons I get, the more special things I can do for the patrons. But they do get the tarot scopes early, and they do get some special programs that are not, or lectures or talks that are not available on YouTube. So the link is below for that. And again, welcome to my new subscribers and all my love to my tried and true who have been with me for a long time. If you have requested a reading with me, I think we're all caught up finally. But if you haven't heard from us yet, we are just, we had a tsunami that we're trying to surf, and my husband Michael is helping me to organize myself so that everybody can get what they want and what they need. It just may take a little patience. And if you have ordered something and you haven't heard from us, you can reach out on the through email at Vicky Vicki Skirbo at gmail.com. So I think that's all I want to say. I'll see you again when we look at the fifth and probably final or fifth and fourth and fifth week of March. I'm not sure how I have it set up, but until then, I'll see you in the morning to ponder the stars as we start our week this week. Otherwise, have a wonderful day, a wonderful couple of weeks, and much love, everyone. Namaste.